All right, let's jump right in. Artificial intelligence, well, it's not knocking on the classroom door anymore. It's already inside. And honestly, it's not waiting for an invitation. So the big question is, instead of panicking, what if we actually had a plan? Today, we are going to dive into a new digital roadmap, a really thoughtful framework for teaching students not just what AI is, but how to use it, wisely.
And this really gets to the heart of the challenge. I mean, sure, an AI can piece together facts and spit out a pretty decent essay on ancient Rome, but can it truly understand it? Can it get the human context, the nuance, the real-world consequences? That's the huge difference we have to equip students to see.
So the answer isn't a ban. Of course not. It's not about pretending these tools just don't exist. The real move is to shift our whole mindset from trying to prohibit it to preparing for it. It's all about building a framework that gives students the power to be critical, ethical navigators of this brand new tech.
Okay, so how do we actually build that framework? Well, it all boils down to 5 core skills. Seriously, you can think of these as the essential building blocks for creating a real, lasting AI literacy for every single student out there.
And here they are. It all kicks off with a foundational understanding. Just what is this stuff? Then you move to critical use and evaluation, how to question it, how to poke holes in it. Third, you've got ethical awareness. Fourth is creative and responsible application. And finally, number 5, and this one's a big one, reflection. Thinking about our own thinking. This is the roadmap, right here.
So let's break down those first 2 real quick. Foundational understanding is just about taking the mystery out of AI, right? Seeing it not as some kind of magic, but as a tool that's built on data. And critical use, that's all about teaching students to be healthy skeptics, how to spot bias, and maybe more importantly, how to spot those moments when an AI just confidently makes things up, what we call hallucinations.
Now, the last 3 skills, these really get into the human side of things. Ethical awareness tackles those huge questions about privacy and how this stuff impacts society. Then there's creative and responsible application, which is basically teaching students the difference between using AI as a helpful co-pilot versus a crutch that stops them from thinking for themselves. And reflection is about asking that crucial question, how is this tool changing the way I learn?
Look, theory is great and all, but what does this actually look like in a real classroom? How do you make these skills come alive for, say, a high schooler? Let's check out some fantastic hands-on examples.
Okay, check this out. For 9th graders in an English class, here's a brilliant activity. You give students 2 short texts, one written by a person, the other by an AI, and their job is to analyze them side by side. They're looking for tiny differences in tone, in bias, in structure. It's such a cool way to start building that critical eye.
In this comparison, this is exactly what the students start to uncover. They figure out that AI writing is often super efficient, yeah, but it follows predictable patterns. Human writing, on the other hand, it draws on lived experience, it has emotional depth, a unique voice. And that right there highlights what makes our own thinking so incredibly valuable.
And this whole learning journey just keeps building. It doesn't stop at just analyzing things. By the time they're in grade 12, students are working on what's called a legacy and leadership project. They might create a little guide or a public service announcement to teach younger students about using AI ethically. They actually become the advocates and mentors themselves. So cool.
Right, let's see how this all stacks up over time, because this is definitely not a one-and-done lesson. This whole curriculum is designed as a 4-year spiral, and what that means is the same core skills get revisited every single year, but each time with a little more depth, a little more complexity, and a lot more student independence.
And this timeline, it just lays it all out perfectly, doesn't it? You start in grade 9, just getting the foundations, the basic rules of the road. Then by grade 10, you're already exploring how to work with AI and what it means to be a good digital citizen. Grade 11 gets even deeper. You're using it for real research. You're debating its place in our world. And then it all comes together in grade 12, where it's about creation and leadership. You can literally see the journey from being a passive user to an active, responsible creator.
So why does all this matter so much? Come on, this isn't just about preventing cheating on homework or writing slightly better essays. Let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture, because honestly, the stakes are incredibly high. This quote from the source material, it just hits the nail on the head. The ultimate goal here isn't about control, it's about agency. It's about giving students the power to ask the hard questions, to reflect on their choices, and to use these incredibly powerful tools in a way that's responsible. At the end of the day, this framework is more than just good teaching for a digital age. It's a fundamental piece of preparing the next generation for the world they're about to inherit. A world where they're going to need to be responsible, ethical, and deeply, deeply creative citizens.
Which leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question to take with us. And it's not just a question for students. It's for all of us trying to figure this new world out. When we use AI to do some of our thinking, what part of our own thinking are we choosing to set aside? That is something really worth chewing on.